All right, just a quick video showing the first 5 columns of my CD collection here. Got a bunch of CDs, and this is just all my classic heavy metal. So I wanted to give a little bit closer look at what specifically is in here. So we start off with the Prince of Darkness, who's right here. And it goes down. I've got all the official releases and a bunch of collector stuff. Some reissues, remasters, some bootlegs, the Wheels of Steel box set, the stuff with Dio, live. So just a very thorough collection of Black Sabbath. The Live Evil album is just classic. Black Sabbath, the remaster. Here's the original Warner Brothers. And then here is just a bunch of the original Warner Brothers releases. These are all the first press Black Sabbath going up, including stuff like this here, the Seventh Star, Eternal Idol, the Beautiful Headless Cross. Here is a slimline single called Feels Good to Me. Slim, it's all CDs. The Tear album is fantastic. Here's a rarity called Get a Grip. That's Tony Martin on vocals. Here's a Live in Manchester with Tony Martin. The Dehumanizer, when Dio came back after Mob Rules, and they did this album together. Cross Purposes, right here, and Forbidden. 13, Black Sabbath, The End. So it's all the Black Sabbath albums, all the Ozzy albums. Here's more bootlegs of Sabbath. Here's an early edition of the first debut album. And then I picked out my favorite stuff, my favorite sounding issues. So Blizzard of Oz on Jet, I found was the best sounding. Of all the 3 different remasters and stuff that I had, I just kept the ones that sounded the best. So it's kind of weird. It looks like that, the solo Ozzy albums, but these are the ones I found that were the best. This Epic release, the Epic release, this version of Tribute, the Epic version of No Rest for the Wicked, the CBS Just Say Ozzy, and then No More Tears, of course, some singles of No More Tears, Live USA. Here's a single promo, No More Tears. Here's a promo of Mama, I'm Coming Home. So what this means is there's one song on it, and it was meant for radio. So radio stations would receive that. Here's the Mr. Tinker Train, like this. And then Time After Time is right here. So it's cool to collect those, for the cover art, and then you've got, just the one excellent song. They're mostly for show. And then next column, we move on to my second favorite heavy metal band of all time, Judas Priest, Rob Halford. Battle Cry, which was recorded on one of the last concerts I ever went to. So when Judas Priest came through with Saxon, that wasn't too long ago, really. Firepower album. The Crucible and Resurrection is highly recommended. This Resurrection is just awesome. Just awesome. Like the best motorcycle riding album of all time is Rob Halford. And then they did Crucible and then Live Insurrection. So this is, if you're a fan of classic metal, classic heavy metal, power metal, you don't want to miss out on Rob Halford's solo stuff like this Live Insurrection. And then we've got Priest Live and Rare, the original Columbia edition of Painkiller album, the original Columbia editions of all of these, including the beautiful Stained Class, Sin After Sin. Those are just amazing records. Screaming for Vengeance is another one of my top of all time. The beautiful jewel box of the Metalworks 7393. That's just a fantastic set that came out. And then if anything, you should get this set right here, the Judas Priest collection of the standard albums. They sound pretty good. I do think the Columbia records do sound better. Just like the original Ozzy Jet stuff and the CBS Associated sound the best, and just like Iron Maiden, their Capitol Records releases sounded the best, not these reissues. These are still good. These are still good. These are the original edition. They sound a little bit better. Moving on with Priest, the best of Judas Priest. Here's the Screaming for Vengeance 25th Anniversary Edition. The single cuts, Living After Midnight compilation, Essential Priest, the early Rockarola, and the early editions of, this here, Sad Rings of Destiny. And it just keeps going. I mean, here's Fight, War of Words. And then we get into my Dio stuff. Here's the Vertigo edition of Last in Line, the single of Hey Angel, Magica Deluxe, Best of Dio, Holy Diver Live. This one's awesome. Awesome sounding live album right there. Live in New York City is also good. The Dio's Inferno, Last in Live. This is a nice collector's toy right there. The Dio Anthology. I really like that picture as well. Here's the Best of Dio called Diamonds. Dio Collection with a skull on it. And then the original Lock Up the Wolves and Dream Evil is in here. I love all these records. And then their Intermission, which was not even released in the United States on CD at all. This only came out on cassette tape. So if you wanted a CD, you'd have to import this from Europe. Even when it came out, it was cassette tape only. Here's an original edition of Last in Line and Sacred Heart, Holy Diver. I see those are a little bit out of order. Who did that? Darn kids. Donington. So, I know my collection well. I know I've got what I've got. I know what I collect. Meticulous, and I listen to it all and I love it all. Melissa Fate, Melissa album, which is rolls out into a 3-pack CD, and then the original edition, Roadrunner Records of Melissa, Return of the Vampires, a comp. This is an amazing, right here. This is what the album was supposed to look like, but now it's a bootleg, and this is a really good sounding bootleg. Pretty difficult to get, just like this Nuns Have No Fun. That's really difficult to get now. Break the Oath. Yeah, I've got a bootleg called Shadow Knights. This one's awesome. And then another bootleg on Metal Memory. I've discussed that before. Got a bunch of Metallica and Megadeth and other bands on Metal Memory, but Mercyful Fate Crush the Cross. That's an awesome CD. So lucky that Discogs had that stuff for a while. I think they banned a lot of it now, but I'd pay $50 again for that Crush the Cross. It's a great CD. The classic, the beginning album, Dangerous Meeting. That's Essential Fate, all this stuff. The Bell Witch, Curse of Evil. This is from Greece. This was a release in a magazine that had the Curse of Evil, but it's still a really cool cover. Happy Halloween Live. It actually sounds really good. The Beginning Remaster. Some remasters here. Fatal Portrait Original Edition. Abigail, Them Original Edition. The Dark Sides Original Edition. Conspiracy Original Edition. The Eye album in concert. These are all first press. Time. And then a remaster of them with bonus tracks. The Puppet Master. Pretty decent album, but what's really cool is this the double with the DVD where King Diamond explains the Puppet Master story. That's an awesome, for King Diamond fans, where he explains the Puppet Master. Look that up on YouTube. It's amazing. One of my newer CDs that I got is Nightmare in the 90s. It's a compilation. It's actually new to the collection. And then Iron Maiden, all these slimline singles, Basically, I've got the set of slimline singles. Can I Play with Madness? The Evil That Men Do. Here's a really difficult one to find, this Wasting Time. It's got probably Bruce Dickinson's best vocal on there. I think probably that Wasting Love is the name of it. That's maybe Bruce Dickinson's best sounding vocal performance. Clairvoyant, Infinite Dreams, Holy Smoke. So classic Maiden, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, Hallowed Be Thy Name. And we got the Wicker Man from later album. And then we go into the Iron Maiden standards, the Capitol Records release, Brave New World, just an amazing album from Maiden, one of the first Maiden records that I ever got, actually. I was kind of a late to the game Iron Maiden. You know, it was Edward the Great. That one's really good. I like the cover of this one here. So, classic Maiden. So far we've only gone through a few bands. Of all that time, that's just Ozzy and Sabbath. There's Dio down here. Mercyful Fate, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest. Moving on. I've got some rock right here. AC/DC, some Led Zeppelin. Then I get into Saxon. So there's the Saxon albums. Basically, all of Saxon is pretty darn good, especially those early albums sound really amazing. I see I've got an Iron Maiden mixed in there. And then all these different versions of Diamond Head. So I even do have the original Lightning to the Nations. That's on Metal Blade. Live at the BBC, Diamond Head. Diamond Head is just such a fantastic band. Motorhead, from their newer stuff to their mid-era, like the March or Die. Here's a Hellraiser single. Here's the amazing Inferno album. Motorhead Inferno, freaking killer goddamn album. And then we've got Motorhead's classic albums. They're all the remastered editions. They sound good, just like my Rainbow. Rainbow is another fantastic band. Had a variety of singers. Ronnie James Dio sang on some of the earlier Rainbow stuff, like this amazing album called Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. That's really good heavy metal hard rock. Deep Purple, too, could be considered one of the first heavy metal bands. So then I've got some more new wave of British heavy metal down here, like Tigers of Pantang and others. So that is basically your English kings, the Prince of Darkness, Sabbath, your primary bands moving into new wave of British heavy metal. And then my collection goes into U.S. power metal. I've got a whole selection of U.S. power metal, and we go right into Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer, all thrash through here, you know, going to my thrash section. So history of heavy metal starts right there. Thanks for watching.